So with the Darth Maul show releasing in just a few weeks, this channel is primarily focused on clone troopers. That's kind of the whole purpose of it. So I want to kind of talk about if we'll see clone troopers in this show and how that might tie in, because obviously this is a Darth Maul centric show, and we do see in the trailer that there is mainly TK troopers at this point in the timeline. This is, I think, right after the Bad Batch. I don't know if we have exact timeline for this show, but I do know it is pretty much maybe around the last season of Bad Batch or just shortly after. So yeah, I just want to see if there'll be clone troopers, my theories on if there were and how it would fit into the show. So I think the biggest possibility of clones appearing in this show would be in the form of Commandos. We know in the Bad Batch, as it started to get primarily TK focused within the Empire, there would still be Commandos who either train them or were just kind of tagging along for important missions. And obviously Darth Maul is a very important character. Palpatine knows that, Vader knows that. So I think if they do deploy TK troopers to kind of go after Maul in this show, I think Commandos could likely be there to help reinforce these TK troopers, or just be bigger strengths and kind of help out with the mission. So I think that is actually quite a big possibility that we will see some more Commandos, maybe similar armor to like Scorch in the Bad Batch, something like that. The other possibility that is maybe more of a stretch is that we'll see Rex and his kind of underground clone rebellion. We know it's been rumored that there will be a clone rebellion, like underground show that will come out eventually, because that was a pretty prominent part of the Bad Batch towards the later seasons, with Rex, Fireball, all those characters kind of rebelling against the Empire and forming kind of an underground clone, almost like intelligence unit across the galaxy. So I think that could be possible in the Darth Maul show for multiple reasons. I think it could serve as like a little teaser for that show if it is actually happening, and I do think it will happen eventually. I don't think the Bad Batch is the last we'll see of Rex and those characters. But another theory that could tie into that is the fact that like Rex and Darth Maul do kind of know each other. They're obviously not allies, but I think a big premise of this show is that Darth Maul is going to have to work with people that maybe he wouldn't have really aligned with before to try to take down the Empire. So the fact that Rex and Maul do kind of know each other from the Mandalore arc, Maul does know that Rex escaped with Ahsoka. So it is a possibility that they would work together. Maybe Maul works with the underground clone rebellion and tries to help them out with a mission, or they help each other out for trying to take down the Empire. I think that is a possibility for sure. Another less exciting theory is that we'll literally just see clone troopers with the Empire, like a little bit of the last remnants of clones still working with the Empire, whether it be on a Star Destroyer, like some clone officers, or even in the gunships. We do see that in the trailer on Coruscant. There is, Republic era gunships, so maybe there's clone pilots still around. I could definitely see that as a possibility. Also, it could just be standard like Imperial armor clones still around fighting. Also, a big portion of the show does seem like it's going to take place on Coruscant. So we do know there is still like the Coruscant Guard, maybe just different units of clone troopers still on Coruscant working with the Empire. And regardless of clones tying into this, I do think we'll see some flashbacks in this show. I mean, I feel like that is quite likely, whether that be a flashback of maybe a younger Maul, like even pre-Phantom Menace, or during the Clone Wars, and how that could tie into clones being in it. I think maybe a Mandalore arc flashback, or maybe a flashback of right during Order 66 while Maul is on the Venator being held captive by the clones. That could be a flashback opportunity. I don't know how that would necessarily play into the narrative of the show, but it's definitely possible we'll see a flashback during the Clone Wars. This is another less exciting theory. I do think we'll probably get like a mention of Order 66, which that obviously plays into the clone troopers. I'm kind of reaching now, but yeah, I mean, I think a mention of like Order 66 or the Clone Wars is definitely likely. And we do know there are Jedi in the show, or at least Force users, so if the Jedi in the show, which I guess is kind of like a different variant of Darth Talon, if she was in the Republic and on the Jedi Council or whatever, like I do think maybe we could get another, I know this is kind of overused, but an Order 66 flashback of maybe her experience during that, and that would involve clone troopers, obviously. So another possibility is Boba Fett. Obviously Boba Fett does work with a lot of crime syndicates and, like, you know, just crime lords, all this kind of stuff. So, and we know MAUL is going to be working with crime syndicates like the Crimson Dawn, so it's very possible that they would run into each other. I know this would be a pretty big cameo, and I think this is probably less likely just because I don't think there'll be very many big cameos. I think this is very focused on MAUL, but I think it is definitely a possible theory that Boba is, you know, kind of working with these underground syndicates and he runs into MAUL or whatever the case may be. So yeah, overall I think the most likely possibilities would be Rex tying that into the Clone Underground show, or a Commando, or a just regular clone working with the Empire still. I think it is still pretty possible that we will see clones. To me, it would feel weird if we didn't, even if it's just a background clone, because again, it ties in, it's at the same timeline as Bad Batch. It would kind of not make sense to me if we only saw TK troopers, especially if we see big portions of the Empire in the show, because, you know, obviously I don't know how much we'll see. Maybe those trailer shots with just the TK troopers going after MAUL will be the only really side of the Empire we see, but I doubt that. And if we do see like bigger portions of the Empire, whether it be like large scale like space battles or large scale like ground assaults, I don't think it would make sense to not include some clone troopers, just based on the fact that we see still remnants of clone troopers in the Bad Batch working for the Empire. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think the clones will show up in this show? And I will definitely be covering it if it does happen again. This channel is very clone trooper centric. I mean, I think going forward all the videos on this channel will only be about clones, because they're my favorite characters in Star Wars. So yeah, and I'll also probably do, once this show's over, like maybe if there's no clones, when will be the next time we see clones. But yeah, just more content like that coming soon. Make sure to subscribe, like, leave that comment. I'll see you guys in the next one.